evening. Welcome to South Asia Newsline. I'm Lipakshi Khurana. Here are the top stories we're tracking for you on Tuesday, the 1st of December. BlackBerry opts out of Pakistan over government surveillance. India's central bank keeps repo rate unchanged. And Pakistan and Afghanistan agree to resume peace talks with Taliban. And now for all the details. The Prime Ministers of India and Pakistan met in Paris yesterday on the sidelines of the Conference of Parties Climate Summit. Even though it was the briefest of meetings, it appears to have generated a newfound hope in media circles, at least, for a possible reduction of tension between the two nuclear-armed neighbours.
It may have been under 3 minutes long, but a meeting on the sidelines of the climate summit in Paris has generated a great deal of media excitement in both India and Pakistan. Pakistan Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif and India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi met for what is known as a pull-aside in diplomatic language, a meeting that was only captured in one still photograph and a cell phone camera video because it appears to have been totally unscheduled. Both the Indian and Pakistani foreign offices are remaining tight-lipped as to what the two South Asian leaders discussed, other than saying that it was a mere exchange of courtesies. Albeit apparently impromptu, this was the first meeting between Modi and Sharif since July on the sidelines of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit. Whilst the Pakistani Prime Minister has stated that his country is ready to resuming stalled peace talks with India with no preconditions, in India even allies of the ruling BJP do not seem yet prepared for any resumption of the talks with their nuclear-armed neighbour.
नवाज शरीफ से एक बार हाथ मिलाने से कुछ नहीं होता है, बार-बार हमने पहले भी हाथ मिलाया है. आज नवाज शरीफ है, उसके पहले मुशर्रफ थे और कोई थे.
The opposition Congress party was equally pessimistic about any further positive developments emerging as a result of the Paris pull-aside.
In any case, there is nothing substantive in government of India's policy towards Pakistan. And this is not the way diplomacy or relations between two countries is conducted. It is high time the government of India got its act together and got its Pakistan policy in place.
To understand just how far apart the two countries are, they cannot even agree on participation at the India-Pakistan cricket series scheduled to be played in Sri Lanka this month.
Meanwhile, India's central bank has kept its CRR and repo rate unchanged as there has been a steady rise in consumer inflation. Here's a report.
The Reserve Bank of India, or RBI, has kept the benchmark repo rate unchanged at 6.75%. The decision was widely expected as the consumer inflation picked up to a 4-month high at 5% in October and as emerging markets brace for a hike in US interest rates. It has also left cash reserve ratio, or CRR, and statutory liquidity ratio unchanged at 4% and 21.5% respectively. RBI Governor Raghuram Rajan noted that weak rural and global demand was holding back economic growth while highlighting pockets of softness in sectors such as construction.
Reserve Bank held rates today. Going forward, we will follow developments on commodity prices, especially food and oil, even while tracking inflationary expectations and external developments. Of course, the implementation of the pay commission proposals and its effects on wages and rents will also be a factor as we consider policy in the future. However, we believe its effect on aggregate demand will be offset by appropriate budgetary tightening as the government stays on its fiscal consolidation path. Now, we are focusing on transmission. Thus far, we haven't seen we've seen barely half the interest rate cuts since January pass through.
The Indian economy grew 7.4% in the September quarter, faster than China. The economy is witnessing early stages of recovery, but weakness remains in some areas.
Afghanistan President Ashraf Ghani and Pakistan's Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif have agreed to once again revive the stalled peace talks with Taliban. The decision was taken during a meeting between the top leadership of Pakistan and Afghanistan, organized at the request of Pakistani officials in Paris on the sidelines of the Climate Change Conference. The Monday meeting took place amid strained bilateral ties between the two countries, following a series of deadly attacks on Kabul a few months ago, which the Afghan officials say were planned in Pakistan. Pakistan had hosted the first peace talks between the Afghan government and the insurgents in Marri in July. But the second round was stalled due to dispute within the Taliban and a surge in Taliban-led violence in the country. Canadian smartphone maker BlackBerry has said it is exiting Pakistan over a disagreement with the country's government over access to its users' information. The smartphone maker company would remove its servers from the country by December 30th.
BlackBerry is pulling out of Pakistan entirely next year, saying that it won't accept the Pakistan government's demand for unfettered access to its BlackBerry Enterprise Service emails and BBM chats. The company says it recognizes the need to cooperate with lawful government investigative requests of criminal activity, but it cannot permit wholesale access to BlackBerry servers. It claimed the Pakistani government wants the ability to monitor all traffic on in the country. In July, Pakistan had cited security reasons behind the issuance of a shutdown order on BlackBerry services, telling mobile phone operators that the company would no longer be allowed to operate in the country after November 30. BlackBerry said it would halt operations in Pakistan by December 30 as it was given a month extension by the Pakistan Telecommunications Authority. While we regret leaving this important market and our valued customers there, remaining in Pakistan would have meant forfeiting our commitment to protect our users' privacy, Chief Operating Officer Marty Baird said in a blog post on Monday. That is a compromise we are not willing to make, he added. The move comes amid Pakistan government's increased efforts to gain access to encrypted messages for increasing vigilance within the country.
US-led NATO has reaffirmed its commitment to back the Afghan forces in fighting insurgents in the country. The country has witnessed a surge in violence after the NATO forces started withdrawing their troops, triggering fear among the natives.
The NATO coalition will continue to train, advise and assist Afghan forces in their bid to curb Taliban insurgency and to assist with airstrikes. The US-led NATO coalition Resolute Support stated that the alliance will take new initiatives to protect civilians and will not leave the Afghan forces alone at the battleground. We remain committed to working with our Afghan partners to help them build sustainable security in Afghanistan, US Army Brigadier General Vincent Schaffner said. Schaffner also added the coalition was considering a comprehensive review of the planning as well as targeting processes at all levels of the command chain. Afghan forces have been struggling to contain insurgency after they took over charge from international troops after NATO ended most combat operations last year. But the deteriorating security situation since then and brief capture of the northern city of Kunduz in September prompted NATO to review its plans of troops withdrawal. The US has announced a delay in withdrawal of its troops from the country and to keep 5,500 troops till 2017.
The United States officials have received credible reports of an imminent attack in the Afghanistan capital of Kabul during the next 48 hours. The attack may involve multiple assailants and car bombs. US Embassy in Kabul has urged its citizens to exercise with extreme cautions while traveling in Kabul for the next 2 days. Afghanistan has been recent rise of Taliban insurgency in the country. The Taliban has often carried out attacks in Kabul and elsewhere, mainly targeting Afghan security forces and foreigners. In October, Taliban had attacked a convoy of UK military vehicles in Kabul. People in Pakistan-administered Kashmir are fed up as the government in the region is ignoring local issues for a long time now. The civic agencies in the region's capital city, Muzaffarabad, have abdicated their responsibilities, and all that one can see are heaps of rubbish on the roads. A report.
The capital city, Muzaffarabad, stinks with the large amount of garbage laying in the open. The litter in the streets, especially at public places, is putting the lives of people at risk. Locals have no option but to go about their daily course in this filthy atmosphere.
ये कूड़े का ढेर देख रहे हैं आप, इस वजह से बड़ा आवाम को मसला भी होता है, हमें भी बहुत होता है, मक्खियाँ, और इसकी वजह से जरासीम के साथ मेडिकल स्टोर है और साथ डॉक्टर साहब भी बैठते हैं, साथ कॉलेज है, लोग इधर से गुजरते हैं, कोई रास्ता नहीं है.
For students and patients in the locality, passing by the large chunk of stinking garbage has become unbearable.
यहाँ से हम लोग जाते हैं भी, आप जिस तरह आप भी देख सकते हैं कितनी गंदगी है. यहाँ से भी एक आदमी जाता है इतनी है तो बदबू आती है. दूसरे नंबर पे यहाँ पे क्लिनिक भी है, किसी को यहाँ नहीं है. तो मुझे चाहिए कि यहाँ के लोगों को अक्सर चाहिए ये गंदगी को दूर करें. इतनी गंदगी देख करें और यहाँ से भी हमारे गुजर के एक तो बदबू आती है हमें यहाँ से.
As the authorities are turning a blind eye to grievous issues, the residents and shopkeepers are infuriated by their apathy.
ठीक है, यहाँ पर कोई सुनवाई नहीं है, ना कोई बल्दिया का कोई मिनिस्टर है यहाँ पर, ना कोई म्यूनिसिपल कॉर्पोरेशन वाले का कोई जिम्मेदार बंदा आता है इधर, कोई भी बंदा नहीं है. कभी कहते हैं हमारे पास जगह नहीं है फेंकने की, कभी कहते हैं हमारी गाड़ी का पंचर हो गया है, आज गाड़ी नहीं है, कभी हड़ताल है, बस ये सिलसिला लगा हुआ है इनका.
Locals in Muzaffarabad say the municipal corporation officials are not doing their work and are only interested in collecting their salaries. As the garbage lies unattended, the threat of epidemic looms large. Pakistan-administered Kashmir, a part of the erstwhile princely state of Jammu and Kashmir, was illegally occupied by Pakistan 6 decades ago. Since then, the people of the region have been suffering as the administration has turned a blind eye to their problems.
India has offered military assistance and training to modernize Sri Lankan army to tackle different types of security threats. The proposal was made during Indian Chief of Army Staff General Dalbir Suhag's 5 days official visit to the island nation.
General Suhag called on Sri Lankan Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe and recalled the cordial relations between the two nations and underlined the importance of further promoting the same. He also met his Sri Lankan counterpart Lieutenant General Krishnanthe De Silva on Monday and discussed ongoing training modules of relevance to both countries. General Suhag also highlighted the importance of modernizing the Sri Lanka Army or SLA as per international standards. He also offered to provide technical assistance to the SLA for upgrading its military requirements. The island nation has appreciated India's military assistance and urged New Delhi to explore new areas for training and defense cooperation.
Counter-narcotics authorities in Afghanistan destroyed more than 18 tons of illegal drugs on Tuesday. The illegal drugs had been confiscated by the authorities from the capital, Kabul.
The drugs seized by the authorities included raw opium, hashish, chemicals used to process opium into heroin, and also liquor. Senior government officials attended the incineration in Kabul, where soldiers doused the howl with gasoline and set it alight.
18.781 تن مواد مخدر قسما مواد کیمیایی و مشروبات الکلی هست که تحت نظر هیئت چک کنترل و بررسی شده و تمام مراحل قانونیش طی کرده.
Afghanistan has long been the principal source of the world's heroin, producing up to 90% of the world's supply. According to experts, narcotics are one of the principal sources of the Taliban's financing. In recent years, the country has produced thousands of tons, more than the entire global demand for the drug. Many programs aiming at eradicating opium cultivation and focusing on providing alternatives to farmers are going on in the country. In 2015, according to the Afghan Ministry of Counter-Narcotics and UNODC, opium poppy cultivation decreased by 19% when compared to the figures of 2014. These figures appear in the Afghanistan Opium Survey released in October this year.
Well, that's the way it was in South Asia this evening. Before we conclude, the top stories once again. BlackBerry opts out of Pakistan over government surveillance. India's central bank keeps the repo rate unchanged. And Pakistan and Afghanistan agree to resume peace talks with Taliban. Now our viewers can watch the show on SouthAsiaNewsline.com. You can also visit us on Facebook.com/SAsiaNewsline and follow us on Twitter @SAsiaNewsline. That's all in tonight's edition. We'll see you same time tomorrow. Good night.